if season two of The Lincoln Lawyer is anything like season one, I am eager to see what it has in store for us. Where do we pick up with Mickey? Where do we pick up with Mickey? Because I feel like he's gotten a lot of success from his last trial. So,
Mhm.
is he get does he have a bit of an ego these days?
Yep. It starts off, I think season two starts off very much with him having a bit of an inflated ego. There's a lot of press surrounding his last case, and he's feeling himself going into season two for sure.
Well, certainly we love that Izzy was behind the wheel last season. Where do we find her?
I'm really excited about this season because, the first season I was in the car the whole time. Which was, like me and Manuel have a great time in the car, honestly, we do. But this season she gets more into the office, which is great. So she's driving and she's also helping out with the office. So it's a cool transition for her.
Yeah, I mean, we see her in these nice suits these days. She's back in the office. I'm sure you know, is it appreciative? Does she appreciate being less behind the wheel and more in the office handling the cases? I mean, there's a lot of paperwork coming in.
A lot of paperwork, but I think honestly for her, she doesn't matter what part of the team that she's on as long as she's part of a team. I think this has become her family, so it really doesn't matter as long as she's operating within, the wheel of the family.
Yeah, I love her connection with Lorna. I love that she's fully embraced by Team Holler right away. I mean, it's nice to see, that they let an outsider in Mickey's small, limited circle of friends. Were you looking forward to sharing more scenes with someone or someone's in particular this season?
Not particularly. I mean, Angus and me, that's my spirit animal. Our birthdays are the day after each other, and when he's not in Australia with his amazing, beautiful family, me and him are just attached to the hip. So I was really excited to be able to have more scenes this season with him for sure.
I love the connection between Izzy and Mickey, though. She's kind of a good sounding board for him as well. Outside of, the normal clique he has, will we see them dive more into that this season? I mean, obviously she's outside of the limited area that they've had where they've had hours of time together driving between these places. Um, Talk about how their relationship will develop this season professionally, and even if they'll be more of a mentoring, because I feel like he took her under his wing in season one, and now, is it time to see his little birdie fly, or is it time for him to continue to mentor this wonderful soul he's connected with?
I think what's so unique about Mickey and Izzy's relationship, not only for the season that we're in now, but first season as well, is they they have this brother sister thing. They kind of have this shorthand in the way that they talk to each other, and they get each other on a very different level. And I think for them specifically, they're the only two people that can tell each other the truth and tell it like it is, and there's no hard feelings about it. Like, I think that in and of itself is really, really unique. And so I think going into season two, we've had more time to kind of, cultivate that relationship, and it's 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 cool. It's really, really cool. They show up for each other in different ways this season.
I like that. I like that. I felt like they were kind of instant friends. There was this instant sort of bond the two of them had. He recognized something in her that maybe he saw in himself, or maybe he could tell there was a little bit of a wound there that he could maybe mentor and help heal a little bit. So I really love the connection that Izzy and Mickey share. Um, when you were reading this script for this incredible new season, what was what was your first impression? I mean, the fans super loved season one, so you got to be like super eager to be diving into season two at that point. What were your thoughts when you saw what the arcs were for this season?
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of the books, so um, and that happened right after I booked it. I read the first book and then was down the rabbit hole. I read all six books twice through. Not my genre whatsoever, and I loved them. Like 3 4 days, like flipping through them. So I was very excited for this particular book because we skipped a book. So we're doing book four out of the series, and it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite book. So I was looking forward to the amount of female energy that would be on set. Because our resident bad guy, quote unquote, is Lana Parrilla this season, and we have Yaya DaCosta joining us as the opposing counsel this season. And I was really excited to see a whole bunch of queens on set, because it's not just those two. You got Becky, you got Nev, and it's just we have the mom that's coming in. So I was really, really excited about the amount of women that were joining us this season.
I am so excited. You have these incredible new co-stars to work with. Eh, and there has to be, I think everyone maybe's favorite episode was either finding out the jury's decision deliberation last season, or maybe even meeting Mickey for the first time. These were two important episodes. Are there specific episodes or that you can tease fans should keep an eye out for? We get a first half and then we get a second half of Lincoln Lawyer season two this
Yeah.
season. I'm not sure if you can tease if there's one episode from section one or section two that you like, or maybe even from both that you really think fans are going to be really into.
Okay, so for me, I think they did a really good job with ending episode five the way they did and then making you wait for episode six. And I hate that, right? Like when you're like on the tip of your edge of your seat and you're like, oh my God, like what's happening next? And then you have to wait 4 weeks. But I think episode five, the way that episode five goes, very, very excited about. And then there's some unexpected twists that happen in the second part. And I'm gonna leave it there because if I keep talking, it's just gonna spill out of
I
my mouth.
don't want to. I don't want to push you out of season three of the Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah, please don't.
We all are eager. I mean, the scenes with Chris Gorham, I think he plays them so maniacally. There's such a dichotomy. You can see it kind of in the eyes of Chris when he's sitting at the table with Mickey, but also, when they have these one-on-one moments. So I'm eager to see how the fallout of the case proceeds with Mickey's highs and lows this season. And of
Yeah.
course, his relationship with all of the people in his circle. More business means more money, and more money means more problems. We all know that.
Yeah.
But,
Very true.
and they do say keep your enemies close. And I mean, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. And maybe
Yep.
that's what Lana really personifies this season. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
what has it meant to you to be a part of such a well received and well appreciated from the fans? Be a part of a series that's so well appreciated, even from critics as well.
Yeah, I mean, first, let me just say, you don't always get to work on a show where you love going to work. That doesn't always get to happen. And we have an amazing group of people. And that's from the top on down. Cast, crew, production, like we have a great group of people and we genuinely have a good time on set. And we genuinely care about each other. We show up for each other. And I think that to me is so special and rare to have that. And then on top of that, to be on a show that's so well received and that's so well loved and that already has a fan base because Michael Connolly is, he's been writing forever and ever and ever and ever. And there's fans from that. There's fans from the movie. There's fans from, just scrolling through Netflix. And I, it's it's just gratitude. I think that's the best way I can describe it, is just an immense amount of gratitude. Because it doesn't always happen that way. It truly doesn't.
I mean, you have to be a bit overwhelmed even by the response that people were sending you for season one and with the excitement of season two. Um, what does that even mean to you?
Um, you know, season two, I think season two is it's just like we get to finish what we started. Not to say that we're finishing what we started, but like we get to
With
expand
that,
on it.
with that part of the story.
Right, yeah, right. We get to expand on that. And so I don't know, it's really, really exciting. I recently went to Spain. I was in Spain frolicking around for a month, trying to learn Spanish. And I went to Morocco for a day, and this guy in Morocco was like, "Wait, you're on the lawyer show." Right, like first time I've ever been recognized from Lincoln Lawyer. And it's in Morocco of all places. And so you start to realize, man, this show has a reach far beyond what I ever, imagined. And that's the beauty of being on a show like this. That's, like it touches a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And I've heard a lot of people say, it's a feel good show. It makes me feel good after watching it. And it's a show about second chances. And I completely agree with that. It is. And I think that appeals to a lot of people.
It must mean so much to you to have such an influx of people and sort of astounding even that Morocco of all places
Right?
is where
Like,
you get recognized for
so
the
random.
Lincoln Lawyer. Very random, but very cool indeed that this show has such maybe a wider reach even than you expected it to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Netflix clearly is a powerful place to be. Um, it must mean a lot to you. Have you been busy working on any other projects recently, or has your focus mostly been on the quality and wonderful series that brings The Lincoln Lawyer?
Well, actually, we wrapped like like a few months ago. So like we yeah, like the show's coming out quite soon after we wrapped. So I went to Spain for almost 2 months, and I've been home for maybe 3, 4 weeks. And so hopefully later in the summer, depending, I mean, the strike has kind of ruined a lot of things for a lot of people. So hopefully things will be back up and running into summer so we can get back to work.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work you and the cast, the crew, everyone puts into The Lincoln Lawyer?
Oh, brace yourself. Brace yourself. This season's very different than the first. So brace yourself. That's I'm gonna leave it there.
I mean, that's if that's as much as you can tease. Uh, I can only
Is it
imagine
enough?
what next week is going to hold for everyone who tunes in and everyone who is getting ready to type away at what their thoughts were and their great appreciation for the wonderful work you've done on this show. My goodness. Season 2 sounds like it's a thrill ride through and through.
Yeah, and I'm so appreciative of everyone who watches it. Like I can't even like so appreciative because it's so much there's such an outpouring of love for the show. And there's no greater feeling than knowing that like, oh, okay, your work is touching somebody. So that's just like I'm excited for season 2.